Okay, welcome back. In this video, let's install this Django autocomplete list package so that we can list down all these data inside the searchable drop-down list. Okay, so currently we have set up our form here, and next we want to fetch the form, and that form is actually powered by the autocomplete package. Okay, so I'll show you how exactly to set this up and make it work. All right, the first thing we need to actually install this package. Copy this and stop your server. Make sure the env is activated. Just say this, paste this pip install Django autocomplete lite. Okay, so you see requirement already satisfied in my case, but in your case it will install in your computer, and then you run the server, and there are a couple of configuration that you need to do. Go to this resources and go to documentation, and here in this documentation page we are done with this installation, right? So once you done with the installation, just see what is there. Okay, so there is this configuration. Once you install this package, right, once you install this package, you need to register this package inside the installed apps. Okay, so that too before this django.contrib.admin. All right, so I will copy these two things. Okay, dal is nothing but Django autocomplete lite. Okay, dal and dal select 2. Just copy these two things and go to your settings and make sure where is your there is one condition here. It should be above django.contrib.admin. okay, so you have to paste this above this admin, contrib.admin. so let's see, where is admin? Yeah, here you can see. Okay, in fact it is they are saying just put it above your admin module. Okay, save this, and next let's follow the installation, the configuration guide here. Install the demo project, and we don't need to do all these things. Next we'll go to the tutorial, create an autocomplete view. Okay, so we have to create the autocomplete view. Also we need to register the autocomplete view. Okay, so that means we want to also create this URL pattern. Okay, and we will use the view in a form widget. Okay, don't worry, I'll show you how to use this. Okay, so we need to set form widgets as well inside the forms. This will not be a normal model form now. This will be a form which will have the widget autocomplete model select to. Okay, so we'll do all those things. We'll start with creating the URL pattern for this particular autocomplete feature. Let me take you to this place. Okay, so what it is saying is, from your country's app dot views import country autocomplete. So what they are saying is, in this example they have taken the examples of a list of countries. Okay, but in our case it will be list of stocks. Okay, so first we will create the URL pattern. All right, so let's go to our URL pattern here. Not this URL pattern, we should actually go to stock analysis app and URL pattern. Okay, so in this example just we will refer to this documentation and just see closely what they are doing. See, there is this URL patterns, and they are using the class based view, right? So this is their class, and this class is loading as a view. Okay, and if you don't know class based view, don't worry, because the class code is already given in this documentation only. Okay, so this is the class, right? So this class we are using it as a view. All right, and if you want to learn more about class based views, you can see class based views in Django, right? So I don't have any courses about class based views right now, but I'll teach class based views in my Django REST framework course. Okay, and this is the core Django project. So that's why I don't think we need the class based views. So the class based views are more often used in REST APIs. Okay, so when I make the course on Django REST framework, I'll teach you how exactly this class based views work. And for now, we'll concentrate on function based views, which is widely used. Most of the people use function based views because the readability is good in function based views, and that means if someone else looks at your code and he will clearly understand what exactly you're doing, but the beginner developers cannot understand what the experienced developer has written in class based views. But anyhow, we will not talk much about class based views right now. The thing that we are interested in is to implement the particular package, right, which is the autocomplete. Okay, so we will follow this documentation, and here he is using URL, but in our case we will use path. Okay, here just write the path and say stock auto complete, stock autocomplete, and next views dot, what he has written here, if you look at this path, views. Okay, so if you want to directly import this one, you can import it. Otherwise, we have already imported the views here, right? So that's why we will import views dot stock autocomplete. Okay, so this is a class that we are going to create inside this views.py. Okay, so because this is a class based views, we are going to say as view, and next the name is equal to stock autocomplete. Okay, stock autocomplete. That is what is written here in this documentation. Okay, so this step is done now, and the next step is to create the class called country autocomplete or the stock autocomplete. Okay, so let's copy this and we'll create a function, or I mean not the function, this time it is class. Okay, class stock autocomplete, and here if you see the code, stock autocomplete is actually inheriting the autocomplete dot select to query set view. All right, and this actually comes from autocomplete. First of all, we have to import autocomplete from DAL. We will import autocomplete and again go back, and you can actually copy this one, autocomplete dot select to query set view. Okay, so I'll go back and actually inherit it. All right, so inside here he has already given the code, right? So first of all, of course, we need to import the country, I mean the model, which is stock model, because we are running some query here. Okay, so we'll copy line by line. So it is actually a function define get query set, right? It is actually taking self as a parameter. I'll explain you how exactly this works. Okay, so don't worry, don't be confused. And in this get query set function, this is optional. All right, in our case, I don't think it is usable, but still we will write it here. From dot models import stock, right? So the stock dot objects dot none. So what this is doing is, if the user is not authenticated, then don't give anything, right? So in order to search for the stock names or company name, the user has to be authenticated. So that's all. Okay, nothing special in this line of code. Okay, but you know what, we can delete this. We don't want this code because however, our user will not be able to access this tool. I mean, I'm sorry, wait. The user will not be able to access this tool if he is not logged in, right? So we have already taken care of this feature. right? So in order to access our tool, he must have to log in. Okay, so that's why we don't need to check that again, right? We don't need this code. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll actually need this one, query set, right? So I'll actually copy this and put it here. QS is equal to stock.objects.all. So this is actually taking, fetching all the stocks from the stock model. All right. Next, now if we have self.q, q means, you can say keyword, right? Somebody is typing F here, right? So it will take F and give it to this particular filter, and this filter will fetch all the data from the database, which starts from this particular keyword, right? So that's why just copy this one. If self.q, then query set will be QS, right? QS is nothing but all the data, right? We got all the data here, all the data, and in this all the data we are filtering name underscore underscore I starts with. Okay, so this I starts with means I starts with equal to self.q. Okay, so whatever stocks that starts with this particular keyword will be stored inside this query set QS. Otherwise it will show all the query set, that means all the stock data. Okay, now then we return QS. Okay, we return QS. All right, you must be wondering how this class will run, right? So I'll tell you how it works, but make sure this function is properly written. Okay, so once this is done, we'll have to take care of the form as well, right? So we want to load some this kind of form, right? So for that, what we need to do is we need to actually set the form widgets. You see this, set form widgets, right? So we'll go back to our function stock analysis app and create a new file and name it as forms.py. In this forms.py, we first need to import from DAL import autocomplete, right? And after that, we also need to import our stock model, right? From dot models import stock. And we also need the forms, right? From Django import forms. Okay, now these three things are there. Next, we'll create a class called, this is actually a form class, stock form. This form will inherit forms.form. And what we need to do is we need to actually write the query to fetch all the stock list from the database. Okay, so how to do that? If you look at this documentation here, so this is what we just did, and I'll show you. I'm actually searching for forms.form. Okay, so if you look at this one, class shipping form, there is another example, right? So what it is doing is it is actually taking all the continents from the database, and then it is putting it inside the model select to autocomplete field. Okay, so this one we can use. Okay, so instead of if this is confusing to you, just follow along with me. So I'll say stock is equal to forms dot model choice field. Okay, forms dot model choice field. So this model choice field will actually take the query set. Okay, so which query set it is? It is nothing but stock.objects.all. If you look at this documentation, you can see continent is equal to forms.model choice field, and it is taking query set, right? So this is the query set, right? And here we can write here, put enter and say query set is equal to stock.objects.all, okay, comma, and we also need to pass something else here, widget, right? So this widget we can copy. Okay, widget is equal to autocomplete dot model select to. Okay, so this is actually a function. We'll put that here. Widget is equal to autocomplete dot model to, model select 2, hit enter. So this model select 2 will take the name of your URL. Okay, URL is equal to, if you look at this, you can see, okay, URL is equal to, in this example, it is continent autocomplete, but in our case, the name of the URL is this stock autocomplete, right? Copy this and put it here inside a quotation. All right, now save the form. Okay, next step we need to do is we need to actually go to our stocks.html, right? Inside the stocks analysis, stocks.html. So here we want to load the form, right? So in order to load this form, we have to take care of that inside our views. Okay, so here you can see, first of all, let's import stock form from dot forms, import stock form. Okay, so this stock form we just created now. Okay, now okay, so the stock form is here, and next what we'll do is we'll say form is equal to stock form, and next context is equal to form colon form, form colon form, and pass this context inside this stocks.html form. Okay, so save this, and now once you save this, you can access this form inside this stocks.html, right? So of course this is a crispy form. We already have this crispy form tags. Just uncomment it, and if you load it here, and you see context must be a dict rather than a stock form. Okay, so what happened? Okay, I'm sorry, I wanted to pass this context, not form. Okay, so that's what the error means. Now refresh and you can see there is nothing, right? So right now there's nothing, and right now it is not actually loading the searchable form. It is just the select field, right? So in order to load this, we need to actually load the necessary JavaScript files. Okay, so that JavaScript file actually comes from the forms.media. You know, if you search for media, you can see using autocomplete outside the admin, right? So this is actually outside the admin, right? We are using it outside the admin. So that means ensure that jQuery is loaded before this one. Okay, we need to override the jQuery, but for now we'll copy this form.media and put it inside our stocks.html, just above this closing div. Okay, we need to load jQuery just above this form.media. Okay, so we'll go to jQuery CDN, just write jQuery CDN. So here go to this one, and here you can see the CDN, right? So let's copy this one. Let's actually put it just above this form.media. Okay, simply put it here, save the file, and now if you refresh, here you can see all the data is being fetched from the database, right? So it's a lot of things. If you search for apple, you can see this apple is actually selected, right? If you search for alphabet, you can see alphabet, Google class A, and capital stock. You can select this and it is selected. So how this is actually working is, when you type something here, for example apple or A, okay, so the moment you enter something, this A is going to this function. This A is actually going to this function. Okay, so if you print select.q, just type, self.q, right? Not select.q. Just write entered keyword. Okay, entered keyword self.q. Okay, entered keyword is self.q. Just go back and let's give it a try. Okay, now let's write A, apple, right? So what it is doing is, this A is actually coming as a self.q. Okay, so now we are taking the query set using this q. Okay, so it is taking all the data that starts with A. Okay, now if you print result qs, right, if you print result qs, and again if you try to say apple, right, A, and that A has come to here, you see entered keyword is A and a result. So this result, if you see this, okay, these are all the results that starts from A. Okay, so ATA creativity, and after that Armada, and again you keep on typing here again AP, right? So next keyword it came here AP, right? So it starts with all the data that starts with AP, right? You see applied materials and Apollo. Similarly, if you say Apple, right? So you can see the entered keyword is APPL, and the query set contains all the stock names that starts with APPL. If you write Apple the whole, you can see the query set is only Apple. You can see that here. Entered key is this one, and the result is this Apple. Now you must be asking, when you write this Apple, who is sending the request to this function, right? Who is sending this request to this function? Because you write something here and not clicking on any of the button, right? So then how we are able to get the keyword here, right? So that's because you have included this form.media, right? So this form.media is belongs to the package itself, and this form.media will have a certain JavaScript file loading in your web page. Okay, so this is a jQuery, but all these other things are actually loading from form.media. So one of this file called select2.js, it is sending the Ajax request to this particular Vue. Okay, you don't need to understand all these things, but anyhow I'm just telling you how this is sending the request to our Vue. Okay, so this Ajax is responsible for sending that keyword to this particular Vue. All right, so that's how it is getting the data. Okay, anyway, if you don't understand this, just ask me. All right, because this package means it is a someone else code, right? It is not my code. So we installed this package and we were trying to understand what this package does, right? However, it did what we wanted, but it still does a lot of things that we don't want also, right? So yeah, that's about this package. And if you want to write something here, for example, if you want to say select a stock in here, if you want to write, then you can go to forms.py and write here, right? So after this URL equal to stock autocomplete, then you can write attributes is equal to data placeholder colon select a stock. Okay, so this attributes is nothing related to this autocomplete package. This is actually the attribute of a Django form. All right, now save this and refresh. Okay, select a stock. All right, so if your form also showing, it is cutting some text here, right? We can fix it with a simple CSS. All right, so go to stocks.html, and here I'll write one style tag. Okay, write select to hyphen container, select to container space another class select to hyphen selection hyphen single. So let's set the height for this 40 pixel and set it as important. Okay, save this, and at this point it should be loading properly. Okay, all right, now I'll search for something Infosys. Yeah. Okay, so select this one and get info, and you should be able to fetch all the details about this particular stock. Okay, so that's about implementing the autocomplete drop down, and in the next one we'll see how we can fetch the stock data from the Yahoo Finance website using web scraping. Okay, so thank you.